Today is a special day. It's one of 4 days per year when the BrainStation graduation ceremony happens. So I graduated from BrainStation 2.5 years ago, 4, 8, 10 ceremonies ago. Yeah, man. And today I'm gonna go check it out. I've got a lot to be grateful to BrainStation for because I changed careers coming from architecture. I didn't have any experience in software development. And soon after I graduated, soon after I finished the bootcamp, I found my first job in tech, which I still have. 2.5 years later, I'm still in the same job, happily employed, traveling the world with my job. The bootcamp is in Shoreditch as well. I live around here, so it was really handy to just go to campus every day. It was an intense 3 months, an intense 12 weeks, where every day, even on weekends, I would work on my assignments. I would go to classes and try to get the most out of the bootcamp, because I knew that you only get out what you put in, so I put a lot of effort into it. Thankfully, it was just 12 weeks, but those last couple of weeks were really intense. It's just a sign of growth and a sign of learning, so I'm happy I went through that experience. Would I do it again? 100%. When I first got my place with the bootcamp, there was an interview process, a short interview process, a little coding challenge, and then an interview. I think my interview was with this guy from Canada, really friendly. I believe it is a Canadian company. And when I first joined BrainStation, they just opened their London campus. I'm gonna try and sneak in a tour of the place and see what's changed. So that should be fun. Some architects' offices, architects and interior designers. It's been 3 years now since I left the architecture profession, and I don't miss it one bit. The Barley Mow. This is the local pub where we used to have drinks after an assignment, or actually at the end of the course as well. And here we are. BrainStation is right here in the heart of Shoreditch. Okay, so I'm early. Just spoke to Joe, my instructor, and a bunch of new alumni. So we've still got about an hour to go, so I'm gonna do some work now. Okay, so before the main event starts, I thought I'd go through the curriculum. Like career support and the quality of the instructors is probably more important than the curriculum, because ultimately the curriculum, most of this stuff you can find by yourself if you really want to on the likes of YouTube and other platforms. So yeah, London, this is where I graduated from. The next one starts in January. Interesting. I guess because this one finishes now, the next one's already fully booked, so yeah, it makes sense. I started in January, so this is the one that I did 2.5 years ago. Cutting edge software engineering curriculum, connect with top employers. This bit, I feel like I didn't really use it that much. I hear they have a good network of tech companies, but I'm not sure. I've never really used them. And then their career services, again, I'm not sure. I've not really used them because I just started applying and kind of relying on myself rather than relying too heavily on BrainStation or other parties. So yeah, this is me actually here, and my quote on the educators. Particularly this was directed at Joe Di Trolio, so shout out Joe. Testimonials there, upcoming, blah blah blah. full-time. So yeah, this is what the day looks like for the full-time one. This is the one that I did. So 8:45 pre-class prep. What's this? Grab a coffee. Yeah. So every morning we would kind of get together, catch up with what everyone's been doing over the last day, and yeah, had a coffee. Had loads of coffees, an unhealthy amount of coffees, but hey, you don't have to. So yeah, daily review. This bit, it was usually a couple of like coding challenges. Felipe was giving us these like little code challenges to do for the next day, and then we would review the results. We'd put our hands up if anybody had a different version of the same kind of solution, they could share it, and so on. So actually, I really enjoyed these bits. I kind of forgot that we did them, but they were loads of fun. Think kind of lead code type little challenges. Yeah, lecture and lab challenge. So this is the first one of, I think, 3 or 4 during the day. So we had a main lecture followed by a lab challenge. A lab was a group activity where we work on something related to that lecture together, which is good. Yeah, so apply the concept you just learned through a structured lab challenge following the lecture. Some of these were okay. Some of them, there wasn't enough time to complete them. Some of them were kind of perhaps too easy. Some of them, yeah. So variety here, but nevertheless really good, really important, because you've just been listening to someone, explain a bunch of concepts, maybe type some code, but you haven't had a chance to actually do it yourself. So these were great to just do that. You're able to do these mini exercises, and then you would do it in groups, which was really useful. Usually there was someone that was typing, and then a group kind of discussion around what the best way to approach it is, and so on. Lunch, we had a chance to have a bit of a social moments. The course is pretty intense, so every little break you can take away from the code was actually very welcomed, very useful. Whiteboarding and code along challenges. Collaborate with small groups to solve complex code. Yeah, this was kind of a code along, watch code demos and write code as you go. Project work and one-on-one coaching sessions. So yeah, we had these catch-ups. Each week you would work on a sprint or on a deliverable piece of work, and yeah, this was a chance to ask questions, because during the day you're doing these lectures and code along challenges and labs, but you're delivering something that's not related to that. So you're taking this information and you're applying it to your project that you have to deliver at the end of each week. So yeah, this was a chance to ask questions. You finish your lecture days, but the work really only begins now, because you have to keep working outside of lecture and classes on that deliverable. This is how you learn. This is why it's really, really good the way they do it, because you're being exposed to concepts during the day and you're asked to apply them in the evenings and on parts of the weekend on that week's assignment. So yeah, really intense. I mean, it was only intense because I wanted it to be intense. I guess some people were able to do it without, investing too much time, but ultimately I knew that if I do it, it's not a guarantee to get a job. I'm only as good as the effort I put in and my understanding of the concept. So yeah, you gotta work hard outside of the course as well. I think I put about 600 to 700 hours of work in total in the bootcamp. Foundations. So yeah, the first couple of sprints or weeks are around HTML, CSS, how to use VS Code, GitHub, OpenAI. This is new. Git, your Git commands, branch, push, pull, and so on. And you're building static web pages, like a coffee shop one. I don't remember exactly what the projects were, but you're building static things. Before enrolling into this course, I actually did the free Codecamp modules. This module, responsive web design. So this actually teaches you quite a bit. And when I got to do this first unit, I actually already had a head start, so I was able to help other people. Really good to take those concepts and apply them. So in these first few weeks, I was aiming for the stretch goals because I already had this mini foundation. learn JavaScript. Again, I also did the free code camp JavaScript module, so I had a little bit of experience writing a function, doing some loops, array methods, string manipulation, the basics. But we also learned additional things that I didn't have a chance to practice, and things like Postman and Axios, HTTP requests, debugging with Chrome, that kind of thing I didn't have a chance to do before. So this is where it started to become quite serious and interesting and intense, a bit intense for me. And then when we got to React, I was in the same boat as everybody else. SPA, single page application, dynamic URLs. You're learning about React router, router, advanced JavaScript, class components, and lifecycle methods. So they did put more emphasis on class components, but now I don't know if this has changed, but most people or most code bases should use hooks by now, but it's still useful to know and to be exposed to them in case you end up working on a project that still uses those. And then I feel like back-end development was a little bit rushed. I don't know what it's like now, but this was in week 8 or 9 when we learned a little bit about Node, how to create a Node Express app, raised the basics of REST API, set up some endpoints, send some data around. We touched on authentication, MySQL, and Jira. I think there's a project where we worked as a group and we had to manage our items via Jira. So that was really good, actually, really good experience. And briefly, we also touched upon DevOps, how to deploy apps. In a very basic way, you've got your React app on your GitHub repo, and then you hook it up to Heroku or something similar, and you deploy it. You've got a live app. And then testing, which was very, very brief. We didn't do a lot, I feel, on testing. Now, currently in my job, I do a lot of testing. I write a lot of tests, which I really enjoy. But during the course, I don't think there was much testing done. So in addition to this, there were a couple of industry type of events where we had a brief, like a hackathon. We had a brief put together in various teams that contained 1 or 2 UX designers, UX UI designers, 1 or 2 data analysts, and 1 or 2 software developers. So we had to, within the span of those 24 hours, come up with an idea, a concept, and then build something, an MVP, something scrappy, which was really good example of collaborative work. And that actually gave me a lot of appreciation for UX UI designers and how difficult what they do can be. We did the brainstorming and the ideation together, and then they had to go away, produce a bunch of views and concepts and diagrams and so on, and then we had to code that. So to do that in 24 hours is a good test of your skills, because you got to communicate, you got to give space to them, but also they have to give us time to build it and so on. So really intense, really solid exercise. Bunch of workshops, one-on-one supports. Again, I didn't really use much of this stuff. I just applied a lot until I got my first job, so I didn't really count too much on their support, but it's there, I guess, if you do want it or need it. So this is the course that turned me from architect to software engineer. Looks like I've been kicked out of this room and time to join the party. I'm hearing music, I'm hearing voices, so let's check it out. Here's everyone. Here we are. So the party has started, but before I joined them, I thought I would check out my old classroom again. I know it's a bit different. It's a bit different. There used to be a dividing wall here. Yeah, that's where we used to have our coffees. Closed terrace. Yeah, this brings back memories.
Know where this is. Maybe
I've got a software engineer here.
It's going to be collaborative, man, but over time.
Software engineer. Data science. Data science. Data science. And software engineer.
Software engineering, I've been focusing on the full stack, focusing on kind of JavaScript, the backend, React.
I'm out of there. So that was good. I saw a bunch of familiar faces, software engineering alums, and Joe, our instructor, Joe. He's taught 20 cohorts in something like 3 years. That's crazy. But yeah, one interesting thing he was saying is that they've actually banned AI from the course, which I find quite interesting because the whole point of this course is, they give you the code, they explain the concepts, and then outside of the lectures, you are meant to apply those concepts onto the task, onto the submission. So yeah, apparently they're really strict about the use of AI in their work. I remember when we were wrapping up the bootcamp, GitHub Copilot just came out, and Joe showed us how you can use it to solve some of these lead code type of problems, and our minds were blown when we saw, because those were the things that we were trying to solve ourselves. And then suddenly you can type this thing and it knows immediately what you want to do and how to solve it. All the best to them. It's a good course. They've got good staff, and they're helping people. It's pricey, but for some people, myself included, it worked. I think without the bootcamp, I don't think I would have had the discipline to finish kind of my studies, because I tried to do it on my own for about 5 months, but yeah, I burnt out. So having the structure there, having the people, having the instructors was, I think, what got me over the line. So I will forever be grateful to BrainStation for that. I think any bootcamp that's half decent will give you the same amount of tools that will help you succeed. And by tools, I mean a group of peers trying to do the same thing, instructors that can answer your questions, structured projects and feedback, and a timeline. And a timeline that's intense, but you know at some point it's gonna end. So yeah, those last couple of weeks of the bootcamp were really intense, but I knew that this is gonna be worth it, and also I knew that this is gonna end soon. So on that note, I'm just gonna end it here. Glad to be back, but also glad it's over.